Hello and welcome to Verbling. Hi there. I'm Teacher Oakley, and for the next hour, we are going to explore the fascinating world of conditional sentences. Okay, how to form them. The conditional sentences have kind of a unique sentence structure depending on how you're using them. So we're going to look at those forms and sentence structures, talk about them a bit, and you guys are going to practice them. Okay. Hello, Anna. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. What about you?
Ooh, I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, all right. Okay. What do you know about conditional sentences, Anna? Anything at all?
Mm, sorry, can you repeat, please?
I was asking, what do you know about using conditional sentences?
There are several kind of conditional tense. Zero conditional, first, second, and third conditional.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going to be looking at first, second, and third conditionals specifically today. Excellent. Okay, let me take a moment to welcome Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello,
Hello. How are you?
I'm okay, fine. And
Great.
you?
I'm okay. Uh, if I were rich, I would be better. Ah, that's a conditional statement. Okay, we're going to be looking at conditional statements. I'm going to throw up a screen share and we will get started looking at conditional sentences and practicing using them. Okay, just a second. Strange. Okay, there we go. Okay, conditional one, or often termed as the real conditional. It's real because it's used to talk about real or at least possible situations. Conditional sentences are used with if clauses, or sometimes negatively unless clauses. If unless is basically the negative of if, basically speaking. All right, when we say the real conditional, and we say that it's real or possible, of course, we mean situations will take place if a certain condition is met. However, I must say that that depends upon the speaker's perspective. All of these conditionals, when we're talking about, which conditional should we use, or what is correct is dependent upon the viewpoint of the speaker. So if you're a crazy person, you may use a real conditional sentence structure to talk about something that to many other people would sound like total lunacy. And it is still correct because you, the speaker, believe that it is realistic. Okay. That being said, whether people choose to use a real conditional or unreal conditional can be quite revealing about how they actually feel about a situation which they are speaking about. It actually is a very subtle clue as to if they think it's actually possible or not. If I use a real conditional and I say, okay, if he keeps studying regularly, he will do well in school, then I think that's realistic. But on the other hand, if I say, you know, um, if he studied harder, he would do better in school, I'm using a second or unreal conditional, and I'm really expressing to you the fact that I think he's going to fail. I think it's unrealistic to think that he will actually start studying more. It says a lot in kind of a read between the lines kind of way. So it's valuable for understanding understanding what people are talking about. Okay, in the conditional, conditional one, okay, we often use unless, which means if not. I just mentioned that unless is kind of the negative. Unless he hurries up, he won't get to the airport on time. For example, okay, that's if he doesn't hurry up. I could say it the same meaning with if he doesn't or unless. Okay, let's look at some basic examples, and then we're going to practice. I'll have you guys try some sentences of your own. All right, here it is, the if clause or the condition. If it rains, comma, we will stay at home. First thing to note, in the actual sentence structure, I can put the condition in the back half of the sentence if I so choose. We will stay at home if it rains. It has no significance as far as meaning of the sentence. Means exactly the same thing. The only difference is when you're writing, you have to have a comma if your dependent clause or your conditional clause or your if clause, however you choose to think of it, if that goes first, you will need to put a comma there. And then also, if it rains, we will stay at home. We will stay at home if it rains. There's also, when you're speaking, perhaps a slight extra pause here when you use the subordinate clause first, the condition first. Okay, here's a sentence where we use the condition in the second part of the sentence as the second clause. He will arrive late unless he hurries up. Very straightforward. Again, unless, again, I could say he will arrive late if he doesn't hurry up. Would mean the same thing. Okay, and last, Peter will buy a new car if he gets his raise. Okay, here's a situation where the speaker must think that it's somewhat realistic, or at least a definite possibility, that Peter will get a raise. If he didn't think that, he would phrase this a bit differently in the unreal condition. Okay, now the form, conditional one, is formed by the use of present simple in the if clause. All right. Okay, so this is the if clause. If it rains, all right, unless he hurries up, that's the condition clause, or the if clause. If he gets his raise, gets. So this is important, present simple tense. Also, I need to mention, notice that we have the more absolute future tense. We will stay at home. I could also use the other future simple tense. I could say, if it rains, we are going to stay at home. That's fine. All it changes is it slightly emphasizes the fact that it's a plan. That's a slight change in meaning. Obviously, I can use the negative. If it rains, we won't stay at home. It's equally valid. Okay, so normally, let's try this out. This is how this is formed. Let's give it a try. Okay, Anna, could you give it a shot, please?
Sorry, I have to read or put an example of one sentence.
Go ahead and try making an example of a sentence, please.
Okay, thank you. If I were study more,
Okay.
I will pass the exam.
Okay. Did you say if I were?
It's the second conditional. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have to write first conditional. Okay.
Please. Yes.
For example, um, um, um,
Okay.
um, if I get a voucher,
Mm-hmm.
a voucher, I will I will buy a new car.
Okay. Not really your fault, but there's one problem here. What is the problem, Anna?
The problem.
Yes, with this sentence, the way I have written it, not the way you
Uh,
spoke it,
uh,
really.
uh, yes, yes. In the first clause, I have to put comma.
Yes, after the first clause, because your if clause is first. That is correct. If I get a voucher, get is present simple tense, and then simple future, I will buy a new car. Terrific. Very, very good. This is an example of the first conditional. Adam, you are up. Give it a try.
If you catch that train, you will get there much faster.
And comma, of course.
Of course.
Of course. You will get. Very good. Absolutely nothing wrong with that sentence. Okay, you catch, present simple, that's it. Obviously, Adam believes this to be true or highly probable. That's it. So, conditional one or the real conditional, that's it. Pretty simple. Present tense and future tense. Okay, let's move on to conditional number two, or the unreal conditional, because it is used for unreal, impossible, improbable, hypothetical. The speaker thinks this is not likely or maybe completely impossible. And imagine, we're talking about hypotheticals here. So this conditional provides an imaginary result for a given situation or a hypothetical result for a hypothetical condition. Okay. Note, and actually Anna started to do this when she started to give me a second conditional as an example. This is where things get a little strange. Okay, the verb to be, when used in the second conditional, this is a strange exception in English. When it is used in the second conditional, the verb to be is always conjugated as were, which of course, in forming a normal statement sentence, you would never do because it would sound crazy. I would never say I were walking to the bank yesterday, or I were very tired this morning. Obviously, that sounds bizarre because we normally are going to say I was very tired this morning. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at some basic Examples, very similar. If he studied more, he would pass the exam. All right. The same rule holds true. In fact, it always holds true when you're making complex sentences. This first if clause or condition, if he studied more, of course, is not a sentence. It is not an independent clause. Simple sentence, independent clause, same thing. It can stand by itself. However, if I just said to you, if he studied more, you would, of course, say, what? It's not a complete thought. It does contain a subject and a verb, which every sentence or every independent clause must, but it just doesn't make sense by itself. Okay, so anytime we put a dependent, meaning it depends on some more sentence in order to make it part of a real sentence, whenever the dependent clause is first in any English sentence, we're going to need a comma. Same thing, we can reverse the order. He would pass the exam if he studied more is perfectly fine. So we can change the order, changes nothing with the meaning. Another example, all right, with the independent clause first. I would lower taxes if I were the president. And here you see the I were conjugation, subject-verb conjugation. Okay, they would buy a new house if they had more money. Okay, very simply, the if clause has past simple tense. Past simple. Okay. It is possible to use a continuous, past continuous, if he was studying more. Okay. Well, not particularly with that verb. It is possible to use past continuous or past simple. If he studied more, he would pass the exam. Notice use of the modal would. This is most common. Of course, you could use other modals, like he might pass the exam, or I can use other adverbs in conjunction with would. He would likely pass the exam. Okay. But I certainly don't need to. This is the most basic form right here. Okay, let's give this one a try. Whoops, there we go. Okay, Anna?
Yes.
Would you like to try? I know you couldn't wait to try a second conditional, so.
Yes, of
Go
course. They would be tired if they didn't rest a little.
Okay. Whoops, I don't need a comma. Sorry. If they didn't
Rest a little.
Oops. Okay, they would be tired. Okay, they would be. That's fine. Okay. Oh, they. That's the problem. There we go. They would be tired if they didn't rest a little. Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with this. Didn't rest, of course, is the negative of the past simple, right? We use did when we were making negative statements with the past simple. All right. This is fine. Would it be possible, Anna, to form this sentence using unless?
Mm, it will be the same, but they would be tired unless they didn't rest a little.
Well, now we don't need the didn't, because unless is negative in itself. It's one of those tricky words like either and neither. Either you're giving a choice of two things, one or the other, and neither means not one or the other.
Okay.
So unless, same thing. So I don't need to say didn't unless they rested a little. Okay? So
Okay, thank you.
actually, you're welcome. And actually, these two sentences mean exactly the same thing. There's no difference in the meaning of these two sentences. Okay? The idea, the concept is, the context is exactly the same. Alrighty, Adam, you want to give this a shot?
Okay. If I lived in 14th century,
for speed.
14 years. 40. I might possess a castle.
Okay, indeed you might. If you were a knight. All right. Okay, clearly, totally a hypothetical question. Hypothetical statement here. If I lived in the 14th century, obviously Adam does not, nor is he likely to anytime in the future. So, very obviously, hypothetical, imaginary condition. Okay, he might possess a castle. All right. But of course, in reality, we know there's no chance of that. But this is correct. Adam, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I use owned?
Okay. Where?
I might owned. It's correct, no?
I might own. Just own.
Own.
Just own. You don't need. You don't need ed. Right. This doesn't need to be past tense. This part needs to be past tense, not this one. I might own. I would be. See here. I would lower. Okay. Right. Okay. He would pass. Not pass. As a matter of fact, just a side note, another glitch, another something that's important to know in English, which is related to conditionals, but it's also related to every other possible sentence you write in English. You cannot use a future tense in this if clause. In fact, you can never use a future tense with any time clause, with a time word like when or while, or in fact, if is actually considered to be a time clause, or unless. So you're not even ever allowed to use a future tense with any clause, that's part of a sentence, which is introduced with a time subordinator. Okay, it's clearly it cannot be an independent or a simple sentence because, you know, while I was washing my clothes is not a complete idea. Okay, when he fell in the pool is not a complete idea. So anytime you have a subordinate clause like this, you cannot say when he will fall in the pool. Doesn't make sense. So, and when it comes to conditionals, we could never use a future tense in the conditional itself. So that's a very big no-no, but it's also a very common mistake. If you will study more for example, or even in the first conditional, it's a bigger mistake. It's more common. If he will study more, he will pass the exam. This is a common error, but you can't do it. You cannot use a future tense in an if clause. So that's an easy mistake to make. So I'm glad, actually, Adam, you kind of reminded me of that. Thank you. It's a good point to make, and it's a common error. Okay. I might, I would, I could, I may. Those are all fine. Okay, and once again, it's perfectly normal to reverse the clauses. It makes no difference. Okay, now, a little bit trickier conditional is the third conditional, or sometimes called the past conditional, because it only concerns past situations with hypothetical results. So these things didn't actually happen. It's a hypothetical result to a past given situation. Okay. So this absolutely can't be true, no matter what the speaker believes, as opposed to conditional 1 and 2, where it more or less depends on the speaker's perception of reality, if you will. These sentences just absolutely, the if clause is not true, and we know it's not true when we say it. So it's a complete, it already happened, okay? It's in the past already, so we know it didn't happen. So the entire thing is completely hypothetical. Okay. Notice the structure here. If he had known that, comma, okay, again, same rule with the if clause first, you need the comma. He would have decided differently. All right. Notice what we have here. Okay. Notice the structure. One more. Jane would have found a new job if she had stayed in Boston. Okay, we know that this is not true. Jane didn't find a new job. She's not going to. It's all over. She no longer lives in Boston. So the entire, both the premise of the condition itself and the hypothetical result are complete malarkey. We know that. We're exercising complete, complete Monday morning quarterback, backseat driving. We're talking about things that never happen or never going to happen. Okay, the form. Conditional 3 is formed by use of the past perfect in the if clause. That is, had known. Okay, past perfect is always formed with had and then the past participle of the verb. Know, knew, known. Okay, if he had known that. Always going to be past perfect in the if clause, followed by a comma if it's the if clause is first. Okay. Okay, is formed by the use of the past perfect in the if clause, followed by a comma. Would have past participle in the result clause. All right, what? Okay, in the would clause, notice what we have here. Would have decided. We have our modal. Okay, I can change. I can swap out modals. I can use may or might. I can throw in adverbs if I want to. Probably would. Most likely would. Okay, possibly would. Perfectly normal to do that because you're talking about hypotheticals, and possibly, probably, likely are all adverbs which discuss hypothetical probability. So he would have decided differently. Okay. All right, so same thing when we reverse it, would have found. Have found, again, the present perfect with have or has, depending on how we need to conjugate the verb. Well, no, it's always have. What am I saying? I'm sorry. I would have, he would have, getting ahead of myself. They would have. It doesn't matter. So, okay. It always is followed by have and then decided. Again, the past participle. So actually, this isn't really a present perfect tense, but it certainly looks like it because we have to have the modal and then have. Okay, or actually, okay, modal perfect is actually what it's called. So actually, it is a perfect tense, but notice this is never going to be has. That's the important point. You can think about it either way. It's a modal perfect or would have and then the past participle. It doesn't really matter because it is what it is. Okay, and once again, of course, we can flip-flop the phrases. If Alice had won the competition, life would have changed. Or life would have changed if Alice had won the competition. It really doesn't make any difference. All right. One more time. Let's try this one out. Adam, I'm going to ask you to go first because I've been picking on Anna the whole time.
She would have saved $1,000. If she had bought this car on the sale last month.
Okay, there you go. All right, you definitely have the verb tenses down, which is, in fact, the most important part, definitely. She would have saved $1,000. Excellent. If she had bought this car on the sale, one small problem here, Adam. I don't really need to add the. I don't really need the article, the definite article. I know why you're saying that because you're describing it last month. You know what sale it's for the car, but the phrase on sale. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know why you're saying it. Right. Now, because we're using on sale, that's why this is a common phrase. Okay. This just means, okay, this just means that the car, there was a sale for this car. The car was on sale. All right. The common phrase. Now, if you want to use the, if you really wanted to use the, you could say at the sale.
Okay.
Now your use of the definite article makes sense. Okay, because now we know where exactly. Where at the sale? When? Last month. Okay, very specific, and sure, we should use the in this situation. So either way, at the sale or on sale. Okay, very good. But the third conditional is absolutely correct. Hello, Odie.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Very good. Odie, I'm going to have you try to form one of these sentences as well, but I'm going to give you a minute to sort of absorb and look at the examples here. I don't know how long you've been following the class, but I'm going to give you just a minute. I'll come right back to you, okay, after Anna gives me an example. Anna?
Sorry,
what?
teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, Anna, just a second. Odie, you got a question?
We are in third conditional, right?
That is correct. Very
Okay,
good.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anna, okay. Your turn.
Yes, yes.
Please.
I would have improved my speaking language before now.
I would have improved my, pardon?
My speaking languages before now.
Hmm?
If my teachers had talked in English all the time. Had taught.
Do you want talk or thought?
Yes, I said talked.
Talked.
Because yes, because my teachers, both private teacher, teachers in the languages school, during the 2 first years, they always speak in Spanish.
Okay. They always spoke in Spanish.
Spoke, spoke in Spanish.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see. Right. Well,
It's really true, this sentence.
okay. I might have guessed. Yeah, it doesn't change the meaning much either. If my teachers had talked or taught, either way. But yeah, okay. Right. I gotcha. I would have improved. Well, there it is. Modal perfect. My speaking languages. I do have to suggest, grammatically speaking, technically speaking, this is not incorrect. All right. All right. There's nothing wrong here. Microsoft is not giving me a green line and telling me to do this over. But it would be more common for me to kind of cut this out, put this over here. I would have improved my languages speaking. I don't really need the S. Okay, my language speaking can still mean different languages, even if you do mean plural. Okay, because I'm just using it as an adjective, actually.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it would be a little more natural to say it this way, a little more familiar to English speakers. I would have improved my language speaking, using it as an adjective for a gerund here, speaking, as a noun. Okay. All right, but definitely the sense of the past perfect here. Everything else is correct. And even I like your use of time phrases, time before now. This is a good example for us. This is common because we use the third conditional to express things about time and often to express frustrations about things that didn't happen the way that we may have wanted them to happen. Regrets. That's really why we use modal perfects to talk about regrets. I would have done it differently. Okay, so that's very useful and practical. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. It's a good example for us. Odie.
Sorry.
Yes, Adam? Question?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we don't need a comma in this sentence.
Oh, you are correct. I was testing you, Adam. No, I wasn't. I made a mistake. Yes, you're absolutely correct. It is actually incorrect to have a comma in that sentence. Well, it is, and maybe it isn't. There's a weird rule about commas, okay? If you are allowed to put a comma in at the writer's discretion, if they think that the clause is too long, or if the sentence is too long and it is felt that it needs a break, It would be possible, but it is certainly not necessary. You're absolutely correct. And for the sake of showing you how to write these, you're absolutely right. We should not have a comma. Odie, your turn. Ready to give it a try.
Okay. Mm, if you had told me you need 5 bedrooms,
Huh?
told me you had 5 bedrooms, told or thought?
No. Wait a minute. I can't. You're a little bit low in the volume, so.
Okay. If you told
That's better.
me,
Okay.
told,
Is it taught? Is that what you want?
yeah, told.
Taught, past tense of teach. Okay.
No,
Well,
perfect,
yeah,
past perfect
participle.
from, yeah,
Right.
participle from
Yeah, you're
talk,
right.
from talk, from talk,
Talk.
He means told.
talk,
Told.
Talk.
told.
Told. Tell. Told.
O-L-D. Yes, told.
O-L-D. Ah, okay, got it.
If you had
Told.
told me,
More of an O sound. Told.
okay, told
Okay.
me, if you had told me you need 5 bedrooms,
5
I would
bedrooms.
bedrooms, yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I would have told you that your budget must be raised a bit. That your budget must be raised a little bit.
Now. Okay,
Okay.
now, all right, we've got the verb tenses, right? Had told me, I got it, all right. Past
Mm-hmm.
participle.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, your first pronunciation was more which why I
Okay.
was confused. It's
So,
an O.
okay.
It's the long O. Told.
Okay.
Okay, if you told me you need 5 bedrooms, sounds like you lived this, Odie, actually. Sounds like a real story.
Yeah.
I would have told you, okay, very good, that your budget must be rise. This is a little problematic.
Yes.
Your budget must,
Be risen or
okay, must
rise.
be risen. Must be, how about, must be, yeah, must be raised.
Raised. Okay.
Okay, must be raised. Rise, rose, okay, wait.
Raised.
Risen.
Before
Rise, rose, risen, raise, raised. Yes. Okay.
yeah.
I have to think about that myself, Odie. There's 2 words that are easy to confuse.
Yeah.
Rise, rose, risen, as in the sun rises. The sun rose yesterday. The sun had risen by the time I woke up, and then raised. Okay, which is what we need here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, your budget must be raised a little bit. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. Okay, excellent. Is this a real story, Odie?
No.
No,
No.
it sounds like a real
No.
story.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're gonna try something here, which will involve me going up and down, and you'll have to think about this a little. Okay. We're going to do a little exercise to check our understanding. We're going to fill in the blanks with the correct missing half of the sentence, okay? And the missing half of the sentence, okay, let me make it clearer by making them every other sentence, black and red, just to make it a little clearer what we're looking for so you don't get lost in here. Okay, so what I would like you to do, please note where the little periods are. If you can see them, I'll help you if you can't. Okay. So there's 8 clauses, which we're going to fill in the blanks with a clause. Okay. Adam, I'm gonna go back to you for the first one. We got our if clause. First, go ahead and read it. I'll scroll up to help you out here.
Okay. If you take a look at the handout, you will find all the telephone numbers, addresses, and other necessary information.
Very good. Excellent. Absolutely. Perfect fit. Now we have a clause first. Anna, the clause first, and he'd help me with this presentation. Okay. So the if clause first. So if whatever, he'd
Yes.
help me with this presentation.
Yes. If Tom were here, he'd help me with this presentation.
Very good. Presentation.
Presentation.
Careful. SH sound. There you go. You got it. Okay. Notice use of the contraction he'd. Obviously, this is contracted form. For the full form, he would help me with this presentation. So if Tom were, okay, notice we're conjugating were with Tom here again. So this is the second conditional. It's unreal. Obviously, Tom's not here, so it's imaginary. Whereas the first sentence, if you take a look, it's simple present tense. Okay, and then you will find. Okay. All right, so that was the first sentence was first conditional. The second is the second conditional. Okay, Odie, go ahead. I'll give you a chunk to read here.
Okay. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it today. Okay, let's get started. Today's subject is helping guests with emergency situation, which certainly have a worse reputation.
Okay.
If
exactly, it's going to be an if clause.
Yes. If a guest loses his if the guest it's conditional, right?
Well, I don't think so. We would certainly have a worse reputation. Second conditional. That's very good. We would certainly have a worse reputation. So one of these.
Okay. If we didn't, if the guest will, it's the first conditional. If we didn't handle, would if we didn't handle.
Yeah, it has to be. We've already used if Tom were here, and if we didn't handle, okay, is simple past. That's right, which we need for the second conditional. All right, you logic that out very well, okay, using the rules. Good job. Okay, very good. We'd certainly have a worse reputation if we didn't handle these situations well. Okay, that's why we like to review these procedures every year. But wait, there's more. Okay, Adam, phrase.
Okay.
Something. If clause, all right. The condition, if clause, call the consulate immediately. All right, we need another if clause.
If a guest loses his passport.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, what's different here? You know something different here that we haven't seen yet?
No will.
Okay. If a guest loses his passport, which this part is normal, a guest loses, this is present simple tense. That's right, that's normal. Then we have call the consulate immediately. Okay. All right. Now, what's missing here, well, there's two things. This is a command sentence. Notice that there is no subject, right? There's no you. Obviously, the subject is an implied you. All right, so this is another kind of a little bit of another one of those crazy things in English. There is no subject here, which is not normal. That's because it's a command sentence, just like when I say, clean your room. Okay. All right. When I scream help, there is a you, but it's implied. So when I do this, it is implied you will call the consulate immediately. It's not spoken, and you're allowed to do this in a command sentence. All right. It's still a conditional sentence, but it's a command sentence. So there's a couple things missing, not just the will, but the entire subject with will, with the auxiliary verb and the subject noun. All right. So, okay, that's important thing to note. Okay, Anna, can you try the next one here?
Yes. If the consulate isn't nearby,
Nearby.
mm,
Nearby.
it is if the consulate isn't nearby, is present simple. So it's first conditional. Is nearby. You'll have to help. You'll have to help the guest get to the appropriate consulate.
Excellent. Okay, that's it. Very good. You will have to. Notice the double modals here. We have a phrasal modal here. You will have to help. So you will help the guest. Okay, this is also another special thing that can happen. It is possible. You will have to help the guest. This construction is perfectly okay.
Okay, sorry, teacher. I have a question.
Sure.
When I speak, I can say you'll, or I have to say you will.
Well, that's an excellent question. When you're writing, if you're writing, okay, academic writing or formal business writing, you should always use full form. You will. When you're speaking, however, it sounds a little too formal and it sounds a little strange to native speakers to say you will have to. It is much more natural to say you'll have to help the guest. Much more, it was better in speaking to say you'll, in other words.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, sometime you should listen to President Obama give a speech. You'll be surprised at how many times he uses contractions. He doesn't use full forms when he's giving a speech. He says things like, "We're gonna take this country forward." It's a lie. But anyway, you'll notice that he also uses reduced forms and contractions. Okay. Okay, nearby. The other thing, okay. All right, we're almost out of time, so it would be great if we had some more consulates here. However, there are also a few in Boston. Next, if a guest has an accident, which is not so serious, you'll find the first aid kit under the reception desk. Odie?
Okay. If the accident is serious,
Panic. No.
yes, no. Call an ambulance.
Of course. Again, a command sentence.
Yeah.
All right. You must call an ambulance. You will call an ambulance. You would be just as correct, by the way, if this said you must call an ambulance. Of course, that would probably seem more. If the accident is serious, you must call an accident. So I can also use an absolute modal must, or a phrasal, you need to call an ambulance. All right, if the accident is serious, you need to call an ambulance. That's perfectly okay as well. Notice in the first conditional, we use the absolutes, will, won't, must, or need to. In the second conditional, we use more modals of probability, might, may, could, would. Okie dokie. Adam. Sometimes guests need to return home unexpectedly.
The guest might need your help making travel arrangements, rescheduling appointments, etc.
Okay, so we need an if clause. Oops.
If this happens.
That's very simple. Okay. If this happens, that's it. The guest might need your help. Okay, look at the might need your help. If this, okay, we've got a modal here. Okay, if this happens, the guest might need your help making travel arrangements. Okay, if this happens, this is a first conditional, but we have might. Okay. Okay, this is okay to do. This is all right. It's still a real conditional because it's a likely thing that could happen. All right. Do everything you can to make this situation as easy to cope with as possible. If there is a problem, finally, of course, you will find all the telephone numbers, addresses, and other necessary information. Okay. No, that's not it. Sorry. The guest will expect us to able to handle any situation. Okay. Yes, question, Anna?
No, sorry. I want to answer the last question. Sorry.
Oopsie. Okay.
The example, only the example, but I see you answer the last question. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's because we're out of time. In fact, we're over time, and
Yes,
I have a class
yes.
to go to right now. Actually, 30 seconds ago. So thank you very much. I'll see you again, I hope, real soon here on Verbling. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye.